Hi there, I am Eric Roman and welcome to my dungeon. Hey, for the past 10 years or so, I have been living life as sort of a CEO inside of dental groups that I've been building. Can I tell you a story about that? Doesn't matter, I'm going to anyway. Part of my job as a CEO was to teach my teams, was to teach my managers, my leaders, core concepts like important illustrations of how they should be executing as managers and leaders. And we did that every Friday. We had a Friday get together where we would go through those concepts, and I would teach something to them that hopefully they would apply or not. And one Friday morning, we weren't meeting until about 11 o'clock, and I thought it would be a great morning for me to have a quick date with my then, 10 or 11-year-old daughter. And as we always did for our little dates, we went to Starbucks. Please don't judge me for caffeinating my daughter with lattes at age 10 or 11, but that's my problem. And so we were sitting there in Starbucks, and my sweet little daughter said, "Oh, Daddy, what are you doing at work today?" And I thought, oh, it's kind of fun. I'm actually teaching some things to my managers, to my important managers. She was like, "Oh, well, what are you going to teach them, Daddy?" And I thought, well, I might as well just teach her the concept. And so it didn't take long, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I walked my sweet Lila through this entire concept, and she, seemed to absorb it or whatever, which was cool, but later blew my mind. A couple of days later, she came in, and we were sitting down in a house, and she was like, "Dad, hey, I wanted to tell you about something that happened at school," which is always like, "Oh crap, what happened?" And what she proceeded to do was walk me through an event that had occurred with another student and then show how she had applied that concept I taught her at Starbucks the week before. She's like 10 years old. You know what? In all my years, I don't know that I had ever had a manager that had so quickly applied a concept and come back to me with results and talking about how it had had a benefit to them. And I thought in that moment, all this time, have I been focusing my efforts on the wrong audience and missing out on some incredible potential value with another audience, like my children? Dental marketing is the exact same way. For years, I know what you've been doing with your marketing. Oh, I know, I've seen it. And I'll tell you straight up, you have been missing out on potentially the most valuable audience that you could market to. We'll talk more about it in a moment. Well, hello again. A bit about me. My whole life is dental group. That's what I've lived for over a decade. My dental groups over that time have done somewhere about $200 million worth of dental care, and which is pretty cool. And I did a lot of marketing during that time, a whole lot of marketing. I think that when we last ran an estimate, I spent more than $15 million in marketing. Don't do the math on the percentage that is because it's high. And do you know what it means when you say you've done $15 million worth of dental marketing? It means you've screwed up a lot and wasted a lot of money. Now, no offense to the great marketers that we have here. That's why I didn't have the pleasure of learning from all these great DDMC folk. But alas, what's interesting about dental marketing is that we always say our target audience, well, is we want to drive in patients. We want to drive patients into our practices. And so what do? Whether it's direct mail, whether it's web, whether it's social, whatever it is, our goal is to get, phone calls, get somebody on the phone. I learned really early in my career, though, that crappy phone management from my team members meant that phone call that I had paid a dental marketing company to get me actually had no value to my practice. See, actually, even though the marketing drove patients to make the phone call, it was my people inside my practices that turned that phone call into an appointment. And then I go farther and I'll say, well, okay, great, now we got an appointment. But again, it wasn't the marketing that had the patient say, okay, I'm ready. Maybe it helped, but it was the people inside my practice that turned that appointment into case acceptance. And you know what else? It was the people inside my practice that created a joyful experience for for our patients, to make them want to come back. And it was the people inside our practice that our patients talked about when they left these raving fan reviews on the internet, that gold that you're all dreaming of. It was my people that made that happen. Do you get where I'm going with this? I'll tell you one more story. I was sitting in my ivory tower trying to lead a company one day, and I got a phone call from one of our practices. It's like, hey, Dr. Roman, weird thing just happened. This dentist came in and told me he's going to start working for you. Did you hire somebody? You didn't tell us? I was like, no, I don't remember that. She's like, well, here's his phone number. Give him a call. And I called this dentist up. This dentist like, yeah. Hey, Dr. Roman. Oh, it's so great. Yeah, just let me know when you want me to start, but I'm ready to start with you guys. I'm like, well, what are you talking about here, friend? He's like, no. I chose you guys. I selected your company as the one I'm going to work for. It's like, well, can you tell me more? Can we catch up here a little bit? He's like, no. I went to your website. I looked at everything about your company. I looked at all the other dental groups and dental companies around the area. All of them sucked. I wanted to work with you guys because I loved everything. I love this. I love that. I love the technology. I love all the other things that you guys do. You're the one I'm going to work with. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I wasn't even looking. And this person selected me based on my web presence, my advertising, everything that I did. Must have been an outlier. Until it wasn't. Until there were 2 and 3 and 4. And until we got to the point where in every position inside our company, people were now finding and selecting us just based on our outbound marketing on our website. That's really incredible. So I have established 2 things for you. Number 1, that people matter and that people create our real value inside our practices. And that oddly enough, our outbound marketing impacts our ability to acquire those people. So I'll ask you a question. How are you marketing to your people, to your next prospective team member, to those team members that make everything that you do inside your practice more effective and more enjoyable? How are you marketing to them? You know what they are? They're a target audience. All right, so 2 principles of my first phase of conversation here. Number 1, marketing may drive patients, but people drive value. Yeah, write that down. And number 2, outbound marketing can differentiate you from other prospective employers. Outbound and even inbound, internal marketing can separate you from your competition. All right, Eric, I get it. I hear you. I hear what's going on. Get the principles. This is supposed to be quick, so let's turn it into some real world application. All right, I have 3 applications for you here today. The first is that I often get asked, Eric, what's the greatest challenge facing dentistry right now? What's going on? Without a doubt, the single greatest challenge to our industry right now is our workforce. Workforce? Yeah. Have you noticed the massive shift we're seeing in the behaviors of our employees as we go from one generation of team members to the following generations? As we transition from a more mature, older workforce to this younger generation of millennial and post-millennial employees, are you like all the other practices and companies that I work with? They're seeing a massive shift in those behaviors. What do I hear? I hear people saying things like, these dang millennial employees or post-millennial employees always on their phones. I can't keep them happy. And then they just don't show up one day and then they're gone. Or they're so needy. They're always asking for what are we trying to accomplish here? What's this? Or just when I get them trained, they decide they're going to go be a rocket scientist and they'll go do something else. What we're seeing is a massive increase in generational based turnover. Not only that, we're finding that the systems that we've used and created inside of our companies and our practices for the past decades aren't serving us so well with the new generation of employees. And so what do a lot of people do? They pull out their pitchforks and their torches and they're like, darn those new employees, we're not going to go for any of them. We're just going to go stick with the other people. And that sounds good until it's not. Unfortunately, we don't get to choose the horse we get to ride. Now, if you want to survive and perform in the future, you have to learn to ride the horse we have. And this newer, younger workforce is our horse. And it's an amazing horse if you learn how to ride it. And the core of this principle is that we're in a world now where we are going to have more turnover than ever before. And the desire for quality team members has never been higher, particularly in this post-COVID world where everything got flipped upside down. And one of the principles that we always lived by inside of our companies was that, how about we'll talk about a fishing analogy. If you go fishing to feed your family only when you and your family are hungry, what's going to happen? Well, you go out to the pier, you throw your line in the water, you reel in a fish, and you know what? When your kids are back there saying, "Daddy, we're so hungry," it doesn't really matter what type of fish it is. This might taste like crap, but it might be kind of small and kind of ugly and look like it's seen better days, but my family's hungry, so we're going to go back and we're going to go feed them that fish. What that doesn't take into account is that all day long, big, beautiful, healthy, delicious fish are swimming by the pier. But if you only go out to the pier when you're hungry and you only put your line out there when you need to eat, you are missing out on those other fish that are swimming by all day long. Those delicious, satisfying fish. And so my principle here, principle number 1 of application, always have your line in the water. You need to be constantly looking and cultivating and being prepared for that incredible, that perfect fit team member who may go swimming by just when you're not ready. Principle number 2. My friends, I've seen how you have been advertising for new team members, like the ads in the newspaper, those "Hi, we're an established dental practice, currently searching for a highly motivated, quality-oriented new team member to join our stunning team." Guys, that may have worked for the past 20 years. Ain't gonna work no more. My friends, it's 2020. Comes to reaching out and finding and cultivating and marketing to prospective team members, you need to act like it's 2020. What do I mean by that? I mean, guys, it's all about digital presence. Whether we're talking about website or whether we're talking about social media, actually one of the greatest things I see in us using social media inside of dentistry is how it has the ability to engage prospective workforce. Guys, your website needs to be incredible. And do you know what we did in my companies? We actually created a segment and wanted to draw our patients into it to learn more about the vision and the mission and the behaviors of our company. See, we weren't bashful about what we were trying to do for our patients. It wasn't something that we wanted to hide. And we experienced this other really interesting thing over the years, and that was just this weird, when we would run psychographic and demographic studies of our patient population, we found something really interesting. Our patient population, demographically and psychographically, tended to look just like our employee population. In other words, what I'm saying is that who we were as a group of people ended up being who we served, right? And so why would it not make sense in the same sense that we're reaching out and marketing to try and get these patients, using the same marketing tools to drive our prospective new team members? Because our new team members oftentimes were patients that were raving fans of our practice, that shared the values, that understood what we were trying to do. Are you bashful about that? Are you afraid to share who your company is? Let me tell you a little bit more about what our website had. When they went into our hiring website, so up there on the main screen, you'd have a thing up here. Oh, are you interested in working for us? Click here. Like, and when people would drop in there, like there was a ton of content. There was videos from me talking about, hi, here's who we are, here's what we live for, here's how we take care of our team and how we value and appreciate our team. Here's what we're trying to do for our patients. These are the values of our company. This is our mission for what we're going to provide for the world. We went through all of those details in vivid video form, right? Not only that, then we had like testimonials from existing team members. And we also talked about like what our position was not, right? We'll talk more about the importance of that in just a moment. But the primary point is, friends, it is 2020 and your website and your digital presence needs to look like it's 2020, not just for your patients, but also because your next best team member, that team member that is going to empower your company, that's going to bring joy to you and to every other person inside there, that team member expects your company to be acting like it's 2020. Which brings me to my third point. And my third point, similar to the second, is that you need to leverage technology for efficiency. And when I talk about 1 and 2, it's like 3 is the nice culmination. Like we've got this massive generational dynamic shift. It's becoming harder and harder for us to train and retain team members. We have to find them. We have to have, and yet, I don't know about you, but I don't have any free time. I have not been in a dental company or a dental practice in the past decade that was sitting there saying, man, we got all this free time. We really don't know what to do with ourselves. You guys are all working yourselves to the bone. And you know what we find all the time is that hiring, we don't have time to do a good job. We don't have time to go out there. Like all these things you're saying, Eric, they sound great, but I don't have time for that. Digital workflows and digital technology can give you back the efficiency that you need. So think about what I just described when I talked about how your website in 2020 needs to look like 2020 or 2021. How I talked about those videos and everything that we had there. Normally, that was stuff that I had to do in person, in conversation, in an interview with these prospective team members. Now, I didn't have to do that. That stuff could actually happen at night while I was asleep. Interesting point. When do you think you're hiring, right? Oh, we'll manage our hiring with our phone calls and interviews between 9 and 5. Do you know what we found? That the engagement on our hiring website was oftentimes highest after traditional business hours. What's that mean? That means that while you were at home, just like hanging out, watching TV or playing pickleball or whatever it is that you're doing in life, my website was actually talking to people that were looking for a new position and telling them why they should come work for us. You're hanging out and chilling? We were acquiring the best team members that were out there on the market. Not only that, there's other things that we can do with digital technology to leverage workflows. If you've ever heard of it, applicant tracking system, search it on Google. Google actually even has its own free applicant tracking system, or at least they used to, that we used. An applicant tracking system just made it so much more efficient and effective for our teams to be able to go through and say, oh, these people are a good fit. Oh, these are the people that need to come in for an interview. We use technology to allow us to work as a team to bring on that new team member that was a part of our family, right? Like it wasn't all my responsibility and it didn't all fall on my shoulders anymore, thanks to technology. And you know what else? Like that way things could be happening and moving forward while I'm back there drilling, filling, or doing what else I need to do on a daily basis. So back to principle number 3, like you can leverage technological efficiency to improve your hiring. And like other things, Zoom interviews, like we all just figured out how to use Zoom every single day of our lives now, right? During this whole COVID crisis. And not only that, we told the workforce of the world that we're not weird for wanting to do video interviews anymore. We're not weird for wanting to connect over Zoom. How much more efficient can your use of time be if you're leveraging that digital technology? So, have you been listening to me? Have you been listening to my words? I know you have. But what we were talking about today is that your team members should have always been one of your most important target audiences. As we go forward from today into this new bold future, into a new generational dynamic of team members, it's more important than it has ever been. And if you want to make it count, if you want to leverage that target audience and everything that you do, first and foremost, just think about it. Just think about the fact that everything you're pushing out into the world is being seen and evaluated by your next most important team member. What you can do is you can make sure that you're always fishing. Always have a line in the water and be willing to cultivate those applications. It's okay to say, we're not ready for you. It's okay to say, no thanks, not right now. But what if that great big, incredible fish comes along? You want to have your line in the water to catch it. Number 2, if you want talent, the best talent in 2020, then your digital presence needs to look like 2020 or 2021. If you want the best talent, your digital presence needs to be prepared to capture the best talent. We used to say that all the time. Oh, well, it was just important for capturing patients. Friends, it's for capturing team members. And then principle number 3, ain't nobody got enough time, my friends. You need to be leveraging technological efficiency by using your digital presence, by creating processes and the ability to present to people and capture people and interview people in a manner that's efficient for you, that doesn't take away maximum time from the many other activities that you have to do on a daily basis. That's it. Does that seem like too much? Are you sitting there a little bit overwhelmed? I spent my last decades building dental groups. I'm spending this next phase of my career empowering people. That's what Joyful is all about. Our new company, Joyful People, joyfulpeople.com, is all about how to elevate humans to their highest and best purpose. If you're interested in learning more about how you can have a joyful experience in running your business or in elevating your people to their highest and best purpose and getting the most out of that relationship with team members, join us at joyfulpeople.com. It's been a pleasure to share this time with you today. Hope that this meeting is of maximum value to everyone. And so I say, go forth. Godspeed, my friends. Bye-bye.